Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So today we are going to discuss what is caching and how we can implement caching in a Spring Boot. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you what is caching. So caching is a process of storing data in a cache memory. Okay, so cache memory is a temporary memory where we try to store our randomly accessed data, and it facilitates the faster access of the data with the goal of improving application and the system performance. So the main goal of caching is to improve the speed of access and the system performance. So that is why we are implementing caching. Okay. So there are a couple of ways by which you can implement caching in Spring Boot. Either you can go for the distributed caching where we are using Redis. You can use the web caching. You can also use in-memory caching. So I'm going to use the in-memory caching, and here we are going to use the Caffeine cache to implement the caching in a Spring Boot application. So what I did, I have created a Spring Boot CRUD application, and there I will try to implement the caching. So let me go to the IntelliJ. So here you can see I have created one Spring Boot CRUD application and created this all layers. Like I have created the entity, repository, service, and controller. In controller, I have created a couple of APIs here. Okay. So let me try to run this application. So before going to run it, let me show you the configuration. I'm using this MySQL database, provided the username and password, and change the server port to 8999. So these are the configuration for the Spring Boot application. If you don't know how to create the Spring Boot CRUD application, you can visit my channel and there is a video and you can watch it out. So let me go and then try to run this application first and then try to access those APIs that we have created and see how it is working. And then after we'll try to implement the caching in it. So let me try to run it. So just wait for a few seconds. It started doing the build. It has started our application, created the table for us also, and the table name is student table, and our application is up on the port number 8999. Now let me go to the controller and let me try to open the postman and let me try to hit the post mapping first. So let me try to copy the mappings, API students. Okay, and then for post, let me change the method type to post. Go to the IntelliJ, and here is the post mapping. We are not passing any additional URL here, so we can directly access the post, and we need to pass the student object. Okay, so let me go to the student entity and see what all the fields are there. So there are ID, which is auto generated, so we need not to pass the ID in the request. So first name, last name, and age. So let me go to the postman, first name, last name, and let me change this to age. Okay, let's say the age is 24. Okay, and let me try to send it. So you can see we have inserted one record in our database. Let me try to go to the database also and then show you. So this is the database. Let me try to refresh it, and the table name is student table. You can come here and then here you can see we have defined the table name as the student table. Okay, now let me try to select from the student table. Okay, select this statement and run it. So you can see we have one record and we have inserted that record now. So now let me try to change this name and record, insert some more records here. So let's say it's Rahul and the last name is Gupta and the age is 24. Now let me send it. So we have two records now. Now let me go here and then select this. So it is working fine, right? Now let me try to access some other APIs to see how it is behaving. So let me try to access the get mapping, which is finding all the record from the database. So come here, change the method to get and just enter it. So you can see we are able to see all the record from the database. We have only two records, so that is why these two records are coming. Now let me try to access the get by student ID. So you can see we are able to fetch the record from the database based upon the ID. Okay, so these are working fine. Now let me try to hit the put mapping. So let me try to change the existing record. So let me go to the postman. Let me try to change the student ID to, and let me try to change the first name as Naman. Okay, and last name is Singh. Okay, and then change the method type to put and just send it. So our record is changed now. So the ID2 was earlier having the first name as Rahul and the last name is Gupta, but now it is changed to the Naman Singh. So every API is working fine. I'm not going to check the delete one, it is also working fine. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to implement the caching here. So we are going to use the caffeine cache, right? So first of all, we need to include the Maven dependency for that. So let me go to the browser and search for that. So Maven dependency for caffeine cache. Okay, let me open this. Let me open this one. And here you can see the dependency. Okay, so just copy it and go to the IntelliJ pom.xml and then just keep it inside the dependencies. Okay, now just refresh the Maven so that it can download this dependency. Okay, so once it is downloaded, we need to do some configuration related to the uh, caffeine. So first of all, I already have created this configuration for you. So you can see uh, we need to set the Spring cache and the cache name. Okay, and in the cache we are going to use the caffeine. So we are configuring the caffeine here, and these are the specs for the caffeine. The maximum size of the cache is 500, and the the policy that we are using is expire after access. So after 60 minutes, the record from the cache will be expired. So these are the configuration related to the caffeine. Okay, and now what we need to do, we need to go to the student controller, and here we are going to provide the caching. Okay, so there are a couple of annotation like at the rate cacheable, okay, at the rate cache put, at the rate cache evict. So we can use that to do the caching properly. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do, we need to enable the caching here. So in the main application file, you can go and then you can use this annotation enable caching. Okay, so it will enable caching, and the Spring Boot application will, when we'll try to run it, it will detect our cache. Okay, and the configuration we have provided here in the application.yml file. So now let me try to go to the controller and let me try to provide the configuration here. So cache configuration, and here we need to provide the cache name, which is student that we set in the application.yml file. You can come and see here. Okay, so you need to copy it and then go to the controller. Why we are providing the cache config here? Because we are going to implement the caching in this controller layer. Okay, so first of all, let me try to apply the caching at the get mapping. So make it cacheable. So there is an annotation called cacheable. Okay, we need to use that, and here we need to provide the key. So you can use the ID as a key. So let me use the ID as a key. So based upon this ID, it will keep our records in the cache. Okay, now let me try to put some log here. So that is how you can differentiate if the record is coming from the database or coming from the cache. So for that, let me try to use the SL4J, and let me try to log something here. So log.info. Okay, so getting student with the ID this from DB. Okay, and then providing the ID here. Okay, so this is what we are logging. Okay, so whenever we are going to access this API, if the record is coming from the database, then this statement will be logged. If it is not coming from the database, then this statement will not log. So let me try to access this API. So first of all, let me try to stop this application and rerun it. And we have couple of records inside our database, right? We have inserted these two records. So let me try to access one of them and then see how it is behaving. Okay. So you can see our application is up on the port number 8999. Now let me try to clear all the logs from here. Okay, and then go to the postman and then try to access this. So let me go change the method to get, and let's say we are going to access the second student. Okay, so just hit enter, and here you can see the time that it take is 430 473 millisecond to access this API. Okay, so let me go to the IntelliJ, and then here you can see we got this statement which is getting a student with the ID 2 from DB, which we have logged here. Okay, so this time it is accessing our data from the database, and that is why it is taking much time to access the data from the database, which is 473 millisecond. Now let me try to re-access it and then see how it is behaving. So just send it. You can see this time it took only 11 millisecond. That means it is coming from the caches, and this time the log should not be printed. So let me go to the IntelliJ and see the log. So you can see we have no logging here. Okay, so that is how you can differentiate if it is coming from the database or coming from the cache. So you can see the real difference. Okay, now let me try to tell you how you can implement the caching at the put and delete level. So in the put level, how we can implement the caching. So let's say you are going to update one student record. Okay, and you have updated that record, and that record is get updated into the database, but it is not updated into the cache. So it will give us a conflict. Okay, so you need to be very conscious when you are implementing the caching. So when you want to update a record into the database, then same record should be updated into the cache also. So that is why we need to implement the caching at the put mapping level as well. So let me try to show you how you can do that. So there is a annotation called at the rate cache put, so you can use it, and then with the help of that you can carry out your work. So let me try to use the key as ID, and let me try to, first of all, let me try to comment this piece of code and then try to show you how it is behaving without cache put and how it will behave after cache put. So let me try to go to the Postman and show you something. So come here. So let me try to access this API. So just send it. You can see we are able to get the record from the database. Okay. Let me go there and then let me try to clear this console and try to access the API again. Okay. Access three more times. Okay. So it is, you can see the time is, it is taking very few times. It is taking 6 milliseconds. So it is coming from the caches, and you can also cross check it. So you can see the log statement is not coming here. Okay. This is what we are logging. If it is coming from the database, it get logged like this. If it is not coming from the database, if it is coming from the cache, it will log nothing. Okay. So it is coming from the cache. Now let me try to uh, update this student one. Okay, so let me try to change the name to, let's say, uh, let's say Rajan Gupta. Okay, and let me try to update it and then send it. So it become Rajan Gupta. Now let me cross check it into the database. So you can see it is Rajan Gupta now. Okay, now let me try to access this API again, and this time we are going to get the student one, and in the record we have the Rajan Gupta, but let me try to access it and see. This time you can see it is coming Ravi Gupta only, because the data is not updated in the cache, and from the cache we are getting Ravi Gupta. So this is the very dangerous situation. So it is very critical when you are using the caching, you need to be very conscious. So with the help of cache put we can avoid this situation. So let me try to use the cache put and then show you. Okay, so now let me try to rerun this application. So I will also try to do the change, update, and then I will try to show you it again, because this time we are restarting it, so it will pick up from the database first, so you won't be able to get it now. So let me try to restart and then show you. So let me try to get this API again. So you can see this time it is coming from the database, which is also coming the updated value, which is Rajan Gupta. Okay, now let me try to rechange this. So let's say making the first time to Raman Gupta. Okay, so let me try to update this and then send it. So in the database, let me try to show you. In database, it is becoming Raman Gupta. Okay, and in our case, it was Rajan Gupta. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, we have updated this record to Raman Gupta. Okay, and in our database also it is reflecting Raman Gupta, and it should reflect in our cache as well. So let me try to access the get API first. So you can see this time we are getting the Raman Gupta, not the Rajan Gupta, which was the earlier case when we are not using the cache put. So this is how you can use cache put. Okay, now let me try to show you the cache evict. So how you can use cache evict. So let's say if you have deleted something from the student table, okay, and it is deleted from the database but it is not deleted from the cache. So how you can manage it? This is also a very tricky situation. So we can use cache evict for that. Okay. So first of all, let me try to delete first one record from the database and then show you how it is behaving. So come here, let me try to delete the student first. Okay. So just delete it. So it is deleted from the database. Let me go to the database and show you. So you can see we have only one record, which is student second, and the first one is deleted. Now let me try to hit the get API because the student first is there in the cache, so it will return from the cache, which should not be the ideal situation. So let me try to send it. So you can see we are able to get the record from the database, but this record is not existing. So you can see we are able to get this record from the cache, but this record is not existing in the database. So this is the very dangerous situation. So let me try to use cache evict to avoid this situation. So how we can do that? So let me go to the IntelliJ, and here you can use @cache evict. Okay, import it, and then now you can rerun this application. So if you delete something from the database, it will automatically get deleted from the cache as well. So let me try to show you. So our application is up. Okay, now let me go to the Postman, and we have only one record. Let me go to the database. So we have only one record. Okay, so first of all, what I will do, I will try to get this record into the cache. So let me try to access that. So just send it. So this time it is coming from the database. Now let me try to send it again. You can see this time it is coming from the cache. Okay, now let me try to delete this. Okay, so it is deleted from the database. Go to the database and check it. Nothing is there. Okay, so it is deleted from the database. Now let me try to get it from the cache. So this time it should not come from the cache because we are using cache evict. Earlier when we are not using it, the record we were able to get from the cache. But now because we are using cache evict, so the cache and the database is in sync. So anything is being done at the database level is reflected at the cache level. So let me try to send it. So you can see we are not able to see any record from the cache. So this is how you can implement caching in Spring Boot. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content.